From Church Militant Studios, this is the Church Militant Evening News.
Hello and thank you for joining us this Tuesday, March 7th. I'm Kim Tizer along with James Fedewa here with Catholic News and Context. Tonight, an SPLC attorney appears to be facing charges of terrorism. An infamous abuser is denying he committed abuse against his chief victim. And parishioners in one diocese can eat meat on a Friday in Lent under these conditions.
Leading us off tonight, Saturday marked the 25th anniversary of the mysterious and brutal murder of Father Alfred Kunz. He was found stabbed to death on March 4th, 1998 in the school attached to St. Michael Church in the village of Dane, Wisconsin. A few years before, he was putting together a dossier regarding the Catholic homosexual pedophile network of priests and bishops in prominent Midwest dioceses. Once completed, it was translated into Polish, and in late January 1998, only weeks before his death, it was personally handed to Pope John Paul II by another priest at a private papal audience. An inside source has informed Church Militant that shortly after Kunz's body was discovered, many of his personal files were shredded by unidentified diocesan personnel.
An attorney with the Southern Poverty Law Center has been charged with domestic terrorism for allegedly taking part in an Antifa riot. Dozens of people were arrested for a coordinated attack in Atlanta, Georgia over the weekend, targeting a police training facility under construction. Rioters threw bricks, fireworks, and Molotov cocktails at the police and started fires. Among those facing charges of domestic terrorism is 28-year-old Thomas Jurgens, an attorney for left-wing group Southern Poverty Law Center, or SPLC. But the SPLC claims Jurgens was acting as a legal observer for a news organization, implying he didn't take part in the violence. This comes days after Senator Josh Hawley laid into U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland over the FBI's connection to the SPLC.
This memorandum, which is supposed to be intelligent, cites extensively the Southern Poverty Law Center, which goes on to identify all of these different Catholics as being part of hate groups.
Jesuit serial abuser Father Marco Ivan Rupnik has been caught apparently defying strict restrictions imposed on him by the Society of Jesus. On Sunday, Rupnik, who is accused of abusing at least 20 nuns, concelebrated Mass in the Basilica of St. Praxedis. He did so along with senior Jesuits and the leadership of Centro Aleti, a center for art and spirituality co-founded by the predator priest. Last month, Father Johann Verschuren, the Jesuit superior in Rome, published new restrictions prohibiting Rupnik from any public ministerial and sacramental activity. But Father Verschuren told Church Militant just this morning, quote, Father Rupnik is not forbidden to concelebrate masses in the Centro Aleti context, which is his inner circle, his community.
Joining us now with more on this story involving renowned artist Father Marco Rupnik is Dr. Jules Gomez. Welcome back, Jules.
Good evening, Kim. Good to be with you.
Thank you. So tell us, Jules, just how serious is this?
This is extremely serious, Kim, and the repercussions are being felt all over Rome. This is the talk of religious communities in Rome at the moment.
Well, tell us, what else did Rupnik's superior tell you when you spoke with him earlier?
This is very interesting because Rupnik's superior says he can fraternize with the Centro Aleti. However, it's precisely in this community that Rupnik committed his worst atrocities. Now, this is what he wrote to me. He said, I did not yet check whether this actually took place and whether Rupnik was seen in a public mass or not. Verschuren, the delegate for Rome, also told me that he's sick with COVID at the moment. And he said, I'll need to examine closely what exactly took place last Sunday. I don't run after framed news spread by any blog. And for now, I prefer not to give judgments on things I'm not absolutely sure about. He did, however, insist that when a transgression of one of the measures occur and are attested as real, new measures and procedures might be taken. Let me repeat that we do not allow transgressions, he said.
Okay, well, with about the 30 seconds or so we have left, are you aware of Father Rupnik violating any other restrictions that were imposed on him?
Well, absolutely. Recently, he took a group of people to St. John Lateran, the Basilica there, to show them a work of art he had done for the Pontifical Major Seminary in Rome.
All right. Well, we've been reporting on Father Rupnik for months now, I know. Thank you so much, Jules, for keeping us up to date with the very latest.
Thank you, Ken.
All righty. Theodore McCarrick, the former cardinal whose prolific sexual abuse started the 2018 Summer of Shame, gave some eye-opening comments last week. During a 10-minute phone interview to NorthJersey.com, McCarrick confirmed that he remembered James Grine, whom he sexually and spiritually abused for over 18 years. When asked if the allegations from Grine are true, the former cardinal said, "It is not true. The things he said about me are not true. If you want more information about it, you can talk to my lawyers." In November 2018, Grine went public with his story of a long-term abuse by McCarrick, speaking at Church Militant's Silence Stops Now rally in Baltimore.
I do this today so that others like me have the strength to come forward. I think about what you can do to help others. This movement must continue to gain strength. Our bishops must know that the jig is up.
In other news, Portugal's bishops are scrambling to save face after a damning report shows rampant clergy sex abuse in the country. One of the most recent steps from the Portuguese Episcopal Conference is forming a lay group, which will carry on the work of the Independent Commission, validating testimonies of abuse victims since the report surfaced. The Portuguese bishops also plan to unveil a memorial to all the over 4,000 victims of clergy sex abuse during World Youth Day. Church Militant reported last month that 100 alleged abusive priests still remain in ministry following the release of the final pages of the report.
Now let's turn to our week-long coverage of the German synodal path and find out what are some of the topics being discussed in Germany. And we'll bring on our very own Dr. William Mahoney to run through some of these topics. Doctor, good to see you again.
Hi, thanks for having me again.
So what are some of the things that the German Synodal Way is discussing, and a little spoiler alert, I guess, why are they wrong?
Well, right. That's well put. Yeah. And if you just keep that attitude, then you'll be able to steer through this easily. But of course, one of the things they're talking about is women ordination, right? So this is an ongoing thing they're bringing up yet again. No matter how many times the church clarifies that it's impossible, and it's not a disciplinary matter. It's tied to our Lord's own decision, who picked men for this particular role. He picked Mary to be the mother of God. So it's not a sexist thing. It's just that's how he himself chose it. And the church has made this abundantly clear. John Paul II made that clear, and there's been statements by the Confraternity of the Doctrine of the Faith. It is beyond the church's power to change that because it's intimately connected to our Lord's own teaching. But yet, of course, they still want to talk about that. But they always try to talk about deaconesses in the early church. But the Acts of the Apostles has deaconesses. But when you really look at the word just means servant, and that there were females who served in the church, of course. We know in the early days of the church from some of the fathers, too, that with baptism and stuff, women participated in the baptism for the full, immersions into the water. So that's one topic that they're bringing up again. They are beating a very dead horse on that one.
I know they have these listening sessions where they try to the same tired old phrase, reaching out to people on the margins. I know that this is something that we've seen all over the place in Germany, but all over the place in the world. Mm-hmm. Like you said, I think yesterday, they want to bring this whole ideology or this whole thing into the church worldwide. Right. So what should faithful Catholics be thinking about or doing, if they can't do anything, now that the German synod way is ramping up, and they want to bring this erroneous teachings into the entire world?
You just have to resist it. You have to, you're confirmed. You're baptized and you're confirmed. If you're a confirmed Catholic, you were given the strength to stand up for our Lord and for the truth of His church. And you just have to, any chance you get to speak against it, speak against it. And many people have been doing that. We're going to talk about that later in the week. So there has been a lot of pushback and resistance, and add your voice to that and pray mightily for your church and offer sacrifices, fast, almsgiving. Now we're in the season of Lent. You really just have to pray a lot for that. So I just wanted to cover a couple little more topics that they're talking about. Of course, they want to re-examine the church's moral teaching on homosexual practices. Again, outside the church's purview, St. Paul says it in multiple places. Unless there be any confusion about list of people who will not enter the kingdom of heaven, he uses two words. One is arsenkoites and the other is malakos. To be quite blunt, one is the giver in the male-to-male relationship, the other is the receiver. He is abundantly clear in condemning homosexual acts, not the people, not somebody struggling with same-sex attraction. That's totally different. He's talking about the act itself is intrinsically evil. You cannot change the moral teaching on that. The Bible's clear. The church has always been clear on that. And they're by doing this, they're just doing such a great disservice to people who really could benefit from the church for healing and whatever else they need. Yeah. So that's another big one that they're looking to change.
Very, very scary stuff coming out of that thing. But Doctor, thank you so much for coming on again. We'll see you tomorrow.
You're welcome.
God bless.
Scary stuff, but informative. In Indiana, parishes and towns near the St. Joseph River won't miss out on celebrating St. Patrick. Bishop Kevin Rhodes recently announced Catholics in the Diocese of Fort Wayne, South Bend don't have to abstain from meat this St. Patrick's Day. However, if they eat meat, they must either attend Mass, pray the Rosary, or pray for a half hour before the Blessed Sacrament. The Archdioceses of Baltimore and Philadelphia have also given a dispensation to allow meat consumption on this beloved feast day that falls on a Friday this year. When we come back, the governor of California is putting woke restrictions on movies, and the thought police get another victim for just thinking. Stay tuned. All that and more up next.
Thank you for watching the first half of Church Militant Evening News.
If you would like to watch the rest of today's episode, please click the link in the description, and we'll see you at churchmilitant.com. God love you.